Welcome to Ask Jessi Kneeland. Today's question. Hey Jessi, in your emails you talk a lot about sexuality and feeling numb or armored, and the relationship between that and sexual assault. The thing is, I've never been molested or assaulted or anything like that, but I do feel kind of numb and disembodied in bed. Any idea what else can cause that? Amy. So, armoring is just anything that we do to protect ourselves from feeling vulnerable. And we can feel vulnerable for infinite reasons. A lot of times the patterns of armoring that we create for ourselves are started in childhood, and they served us, they served us at the time because we needed something. We felt scared of losing something, or, some formative pattern in our childhood family, like our nuclear family. That's where a lot of our patterns of armoring come from. And then from there, any formative experience or any traumatic experience can alter the kind of armor that you have. So sex is a really big deal. It is fraught with trauma of all kinds, little and big. Even if you've never been assaulted or molested, you are aware that sex as a topic is a really big deal because you've heard stories of it being utterly transcendent, and you've seen like the romantic movies in which it's the culmination of the great love story, and you've also seen it in the news as like people being raped and then murdered, or more likely than that, since the statistic is that 1 in 3 women technically will be sexually assaulted in their lifetime, then you also probably know someone in your real life who has been through some kind of sexual trauma. And for the record, I believe that number is a lot higher than 1 in 3. I think that is an incredibly conservative estimate, that they can only do the best they can with people who are coming forwards and calling it what it is. But I think the number is a lot higher than that. So in my mind, sex is this big deal, and we know it's a big deal, and we know that it can be amazing, and we also know that it can be absolutely horrific. And with all that information, there's also tons of layers on top of it, like sex-negative religion or sex-negative families who just don't want to talk about it. They're like, don't do that. That's gross. Don't do it. There's a lot of reasons why you might armor yourself to the pleasure of sex, and to the pleasure of sensuality, even to the experience of being intimate with someone. Like, all these have so many layers and reasons why you might feel too vulnerable and need some protection, aka create some armor, and then feel disembodied, feel like you're not fully participating, or feel numb when someone touches you. So there's a lot of reasons for these things. But one thing I wanted to particularly address, which comes up a lot with my clients, is that if you know somebody who's been through an experience, somebody who's been raped or assaulted or molested, somebody you care about or somebody you're close to, I believe you have to heal from that. Not everybody is going to go through the same experience, of course, but I think in general, there is a transference of trauma that happens when someone you cared about was violated. Even if you didn't know about it till years later or whatever, you don't have to be that closely connected to it to feel some echo of violation, like, ooh, it was like my best friend or my sister or just whoever is in your life that went through something like this. When you know that that's true, that affects you, because this is somebody who is personally connected to you, and you go, oh, it is not safe to be in my sphere. It enters your energy sphere, to have that knowledge in your head of what can happen. And even more so when it's personally connected, like if it was in your house, for example, or if it was a blood relation, sometimes that can be especially powerful. And so when you get that feeling, that almost transference of like, if it happened to them, it could happen to me, it messes with your head a little bit, and your body even, so that the protection that you create sometimes isn't due to a trauma that you experienced. Sometimes it's due to a trauma that someone close to you experienced that you're aware of. Even if you weren't fully aware of it, sometimes we just respond to stuff that like our intuition picks up on. We're like, something yucky happened. You know, so that feeling of like, ooh, I did not like that person. I did not like the situation. Even if our conscious minds aren't like, a sexual trauma occurred today, like we know, some part of us knows, and sometimes our armoring protects us against that kind of thing. It shows up in situations that you can't logically justify as being a molestation or an assault or a rape. So I highly encourage you to not try to treat it like a logical linear thing, like assault equals numbing yourself equals feeling disassociated in bed. And instead to take it as the whole picture of being a human in a body in a world trying to find sexuality and sensuality and intimacy, and not stress too much about where the exact line of it came from, because for some people that exact line is important, but it's also usually pretty clear. So for some people, they're going to go, I was raped, now I'm struggling. That's that. For those people, that's it. For other people, it's not as clear, and I encourage you not to think of your struggle to fully embody your body as any less difficult or less worthy of examining and healing. I think that a lot of us, I think everyone needs to heal. We need to heal from something, but what each of us needs to heal from is different and unique. And I encourage you not to keep yourself from healing because you don't know exactly what you're healing from, or to keep yourself from healing because you think that what you do need to heal from isn't a big deal. If you're like, well, that guy rejected me, but I was like in 6th grade, it couldn't have affected me, or you know, ooh, that guy like acted creepy, but nothing ever happened. These might be, for the right person in the right situation, they might be things you do need to heal from. They might be the things that caused your body to go, not safe. And if you are disassociating in bed, if you are feeling numb, if you are feeling not present, if you're feeling unable to have pleasure in your body, then there's healing to be done. And if you can't name the exact time or place, I would not let that hold you back, because we live in a culture where there are little traumas happening kind of all the time. And some of them happen to other people. Sometimes it's our intuition picking up on stuff that we can't confirm happened. Sometimes it's just somebody's intention. If somebody's intention is to cause you harm or to ignore your boundaries, even if they don't cross a physical barrier with you, we feel that. And that still is worthy of healing. Nothing isn't worthy of healing. If it affected you, if it caused any armoring, it is worthy of healing. So one thing I just want to say to everybody is that your healing is not better or worse than anybody else's. This is not a competition. We all need to heal what we've been given to heal from. And it doesn't have to be as dramatic or as bad as you think it might have to be in order to say, I'm healing from sexual trauma or sexual discomfort or a lifetime of sex negativity. You can be healing from those things without having like one specific example that you can point to. And don't let anyone else tell you can't, because that's madness. Healing is healing. I think we all need to be doing it, and we all deserve to feel worthy of doing it, because otherwise we just walk around thinking other people are more worthy of healing than we are because they have words for what happened to them, and we don't think we do. So give yourself compassion and do the best you can to allow yourself to heal whatever shows up, even if that thing is not linear, maybe not logical, maybe not that bad. Just allow yourself to have been sensitive enough to pick up on something somewhere that made you armor, and then to say, I don't want this armor anymore. I want to feel my body. I want to live in my body, and move forwards from there without necessarily getting too hung up on what exactly it was. So those are my thoughts. I hope that this is helpful. I would love to hear from you. Please leave a comment. And as always, you can get in touch with me through my website, jessikneeland.com, to leave me questions for this series.